CNBC-TV18.
Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Several digital lending apps face potential bans on their app and websites, including LazyPay, Kish, Indiabulls, Home Loans, CreditBee and Buddy Loan. This after the government bans 94 lending apps with alleged links to China and money laundering. Sources say select fintech leaders meet IT and Home Ministry officials. Government assures legitimate players need not worry.
Paytm jumps in trade following the potential ban on select lending apps in an upbeat conference call. Zomato founder Deepinder Goyal sends a message to Vijay Shekhar Sharma on Paytm's operational profitability, apologizes for delayed wishes, saying he was busy working on Zomato's profitability.
The Supreme Court refuses to grant relief to Rapido against Maharashtra government's ban on bike aggregators, sends the company back to the Bombay High Court asking it to challenge the Maharashtra government committee, which has been directed to finalize the legal framework on the use of non-transport vehicles for aggregation and carpooling.
PhonePe becomes one of India's first fintech platforms to enable cross-border UPI payments. The feature, which allows Indian users traveling abroad to instantly pay foreign merchants using UPI, will be first introduced in the UAE, Singapore, Mauritius, Nepal and Bhutan. Further expansion after NPCI rolls out UPI International in more countries.
Simple Energy raises $20 million from a clutch of investors in its ongoing bridge round. The startup plans to use fresh funds to ramp up production of its EV scooter, Simple One, for which it claims to have received more than 1 lakh bookings.
Google unveils its own experimental conversation AI service called Bard as it races to take on Microsoft-backed ChatGPT. Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai says the service will initially be opened up to trusted testers before making it more widely available to the public. This comes just as Microsoft and OpenAI prepare to make important announcements at an event tomorrow. Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Now to the big story today. Several digital lending apps are staring at a potential ban. Sources in the IT ministry tell us that 232 betting and loan apps have been banned on the basis of inputs from central government agencies. But we learned from industry sources that the government has assured select fintech companies today that legitimate players should not worry. Ashmit Kumar is here with all of those details. Ashmit, what are you picking up?
Well, as far as the action and the takedown order itself is concerned, it was based on input that has been shared by the Ministry of Home Affairs. That input essentially pertained to 2 factors. Number one is linkages with Chinese entities, and the second is an increasing amount of consumer distress that has been voiced on social media and has been voiced in various platforms, shared with various government ministries. That's been collated and shared with MeitY. So that's as far as your question on the grounds for this takedown action is concerned. As for the scope of the action itself, it's quite wide. We've managed to access a part of the list of some of these players that have in fact been red flagged. As far as the loan segment or the fintech space is concerned, as many as 94 players are facing the axe here. And as far as the players in question are concerned, we have been reporting that the likes of LazyPay, the likes of Kish, in fact, are facing the axe. But importantly, we've managed to access some names here further, which in fact suggests that the scope of the order is much, much wider. We're talking about names, heavyweights such as Indiabulls Home Loans. There are also substantial players such as M-Pocket, CreditBee, FairPay. All of these players are also find themselves on the list of companies that have been red flagged for a takedown. Now, as far as the formality and the procedure of it all, well, the orders have been issued by MeitY to the intermediary, which in this case happens to be Google. So Google is the one that has received as far as these takedown orders are concerned. But in terms of the companies themselves, well, we understand they've been trying to reach out to the Ministry of Electronics and IT. They're trying to get more clarity in terms of how this order will be operationalized and what their remedies, if any, available under Section 69A of the IT Act. So a whole host of questions that need answering. For now, takedown orders being issued by the Ministry of Electronics and IT.
We have not received any notice or communication from the government as yet. And we are also seeking clarification, having heard from the sources. At this point in time, there is absolutely no impact on our operations. Right now, what we're trying to do is just engage with the government. Our team is there in Delhi right now, meeting with the MeitY officials to understand what is their concern and how we can address them. We are also hoping more clarity is something we get very, very soon, so that this, uncertainty around this whole matter gets resolved on its own.
All right. 232 betting and loan apps have been banned on the basis of inputs from central government agencies. But we learned from industry sources that the government has assured select fintech companies today that legitimate players should not worry. Moving on the hot seat today, we put the spotlight on CapGrid, that is helping firms make smart procurement. CapGrid claims to have built a digital supply network with an advanced technology infrastructure, partnering with hundreds of Tier 2 manufacturers to get precision parts and components sourced, manufactured and delivered to customers' assembly line. The venture recently raised $7 million at the Series A round led by Nexus Venture Partners. And to talk to us about the road ahead, joining me now is the co-founder and CEO of CapGrid, Dheeraj Tiwari. Dheeraj, welcome to Startup Street. CapGrid claims that its AI-powered platform and network of suppliers allows manufacturers to significantly reduce complexities in direct material sourcing and procurement. Dheeraj, tell me, how are you reducing complexity in procurement management? Take me to the business model, the offerings, and if you could explain by sharing some use cases.
Sure. No, thanks, Shruti, for the opportunity. Really appreciate. Me and my co-founder have spent significant amount of time working very closely with automotive manufacturers globally in my previous stint. And what we saw is there are thousands of components which goes into a product, right? In a car, there will be like 20,000 odd components. And traditionally, as well as globally, for each and every component, the manufacturer of the vehicle will go and approach a component manufacturer, right, individually for each and every component. And that's where we saw an opportunity where in certain set of categories, manufacturing capabilities, we aggregate the demand at customer ends, and we become a supplier of those thousands of components for one particular customer. Traditionally, in those 20,000 components, they'll be buying 15,000 maybe from 100 suppliers and remaining 5,000 from another 100, right? So the decentralization is pretty high. And then on the supply side, we do long-term kind of partnership with our with Tier 2 suppliers in the automotive as well as consumer durable industry, where we get those components manufactured through a cloud manufacturing network and then bring it to our warehouse and deliver it to our.
Okay, so
kind of 90% reduction in overall complexity.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that, if you could talk to me about your tech edge, how is CapGrid ensuring a vast supply pool and discovering matching suppliers using AI algorithms?
True. So there are two pieces to this. Of course, there is this supplier discovery and then identifying the available capacity. And then third step being auditing the supplier itself, right, in terms of what are the capabilities of that supplier. Is it matching with what it claims? This is where our tech comes into picture to identify the best fit manufacturer for that particular component. In step two, kind of this whole complex supply chain where earlier 100 suppliers were supplying those 2,000 parts. Now CapGrid is doing that. So that's where our whole operation engine of POs, invoices, how much inventory needs to be kept at any point of time, that's pretty automated using this ML-AI-based algorithm.
So Dheeraj, tell me how your tech infusion is enhancing cost optimization for businesses. What is the kind of efficiency your technology has brought to your clients?
Absolutely. So in terms of, we say, operational complexity, which not only includes man hours, but also technology uses, right? Or the infrastructure which is getting used in terms of technology, right? That comes down by about 90% for our customer. So imagine they were dealing with 100 suppliers, 1,000 parts, individual POs, individual gate entries, GRN, kind of, and then invoicing, payment, right? That all gets to one supplier, which is CapGrid.
Okay.
This is where the technology comes into picture.
All right. Now, to be able to cater to manufacturers across the country, you partner with warehousing and logistic players in an asset-light model to be able to deliver to the customer's assembly line. If you could take me through the revenue models you've built, also talk to me about the current business growth numbers that you're seeing, and of course, your plans with the recent fundraise of $7 million that you've raised.
So no, we are a very young company. 1.5 years back, we had zero revenues, and now we are doing a very, very good revenue, right? 22, 23, we are looking to close at about 45 crores from almost 5 crores in 21, 22. The revenue model is purely, we own this whole manufacturing, right? So without having any plant equipment and capacity. So we tap into these kind of mid-size MSME suppliers who are very hungry, looking to grow and operating at 50-60% capacity utilization. We partner with them, we give them kind of consistent manufacturing demand, right?
Okay.
And then we buy at X rupees and of course cover our costs and have some margin and sell at Y rupees to our customer. So that becomes kind of our margin, right? We own entire quality, warranty, as well as delivery responsibility with us. Given we are a kind of cloud manufacturing company, our core capability is kind of sourcing, vendor development, and then getting it manufactured. We do not want a deep asset-heavy warehousing and logistics network. That's where we have partnered with a bunch of warehouse as well as logistics provider all over India. Currently, we have about 6 warehouses, opening another 6 to kind of cover all those 12 to 15 key manufacturing zones in India. In terms of, and we are working with a bunch of listed automotive OEMs who have been in business for 50, 60 years, as well as a lot of EV, electric vehicle manufacturers who are new and who are still trying to replace the Chinese imports, right? Where we are helping them very closely. In terms of future plan, we are looking to grow about 8 to 10x revenues in next 15 to 18 months, right? Especially after this
All right.
funding.
Dheeraj, we've completely run out of time, but wish you the very best in all your growth plans, 8 to 10x growth in revenue, a great target there, and many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today.
Thank you, Shruti. Have a good day. Bye.
From one fundraise to another, two-wheeler financing company Bazaar has raised $10 million from DEG, a Germany-based development finance institution. With this raise, the firm has closed its Series D round with a total equity raise of $30 million. The other investors in the funding round include Women World's Banking Asset Management, Eleva Equity, and Fairing Capital. Bazaar is a two-wheeler life cycle services platform that provides financing for new two-wheelers, electric two-wheelers, and pre-owned two-wheelers. Joining us now to discuss the company's growth blueprint is Srinivas Kantheti, the co-founder and MD of Bazaar. Srinivas, thank you so much for joining us on Startup Street today. Now, you're a two-wheeler marketplace, like I said. Talk to us about the growth that you're seeing. Which segment are you seeing the most amount of traction for?
Thank you, Arundhati. Very happy to be here. And yes, so if you look at us, we have predominantly the entire life cycle of two-wheeler ownership and ridership, right from the vehicle getting financed up to finally the vehicle getting scrapped. Of course, all the pieces are still not built, but predominantly we have a lot of our business coming in financing. And when we started it, it was a second-hand two-wheeler financing, which is what caught our eye because there was nobody in that. Happy to tell you that today we are market leaders there. 25% of our business comes from second-hand two-wheeler financing. Later on, we also got into financing new two-wheelers, mainly in rural areas, where the penetration levels in states like Bihar, Orissa, Rajasthan, UP are very, very low. And that's where I think we have very unique models of collection, etc., which has taken us to a good extent. So today we are about 1,000 crore kind of asset under management by March. Right. And out of it, only 2% of it is electric. And that's where we are going to see a huge amount of growth in the next 3 or 4 years' time. Just to put a number, next year we would be doing about 2,000 crore asset under management, and it'll be 24% electric actually. So that's the kind of growth we are looking at. And by FY26, we expect 50% of our 6,500 crore book to be electric.
All right. So a big push there for your electric arm. We're going to discuss that in a little bit more depth. But your financing arm first has disbursed two-wheeler loans of over 3,75,000 till date and a cumulative disbursement of 2,000 crore rupees as of December last year. So talk to us about where you hope to see this by the end of this year and what are your NPAs looking like?
Yeah. So as I said, this year we would be disbursing close to 1,000 odd crores, and out of which most of it is done already. And next year, we're looking at a 2,000 crore disbursement, and by FY26, a 6,500 crore disbursement. Because the book and disbursement are more or less same in this business. The book runs down in 2 year time. It's a short-term loan. Right. And NPAs, I think at the peak of COVID, when our NPAs went up to as high as 6%, which still was industry best during that time. Right. Today, we are down to about 3.2% NPA. And I believe that this business, if you know how to do it, the NPS can be very much under control.
All right. So 3.2% there. Okay. With this fundraise, you're primarily looking, as you said, to foray into India's rural market. So take us through what your traction has been in these markets.
Yeah, so right from beginning, in fact, 2017 we started second-hand vehicles. 2018
Right.
we got into new vehicles, and almost, as I said, 80% of our business comes from rural markets, and the traction has been very good. One of the big advantages, and I have been saying this many a times, that and in my earlier job at Bajaj also I knew this, that the credit culture in Bihar is better than the credit culture in Bangalore. You may be shocked about it,
Yeah.
but that's our experience. If you have a right product, because a lot of the customers are new to credit, they have no income proof, and also they have very poor banking habits. So your product has to be catering to these requirements. And on the flip side, the advantages is most of them have their own houses. They have a lot of history in that place, in that town, in that village, and usually they would not default unless they are under some kind of a stress.
Correct.
So I think this combination is what has worked very well for us. We have a very unique product called direct collection model, wherein we do not even take a bank repayment instrument or a check. And we have very successfully built that model for companies like Hero, for companies like Honda and
Right.
TVS, actually.
All right. So you're also looking, as you said, to double down on your two-wheeler, on your electric two-wheeler financing by offering products including leasing and rental solutions. So talk to us about the growth you've seen on this front so far. You already gave us what you expected to grow to. And also, what's the road to profitability looking like for you?
Yeah, so I'll answer the last question first. So
Okay.
this quarter will be profitable. We'll break even, and next quarter we'll make a full profit for the year. And we always knew that once we reach a particular size, we'll be profitable, because we built for scale right from beginning. This business needs a lot of investment upfront if you have to build for scale, both in technology and in terms of manpower, in terms of management manpower. Now, coming to electric, one of the things is that we are looking at the huge 2 million plus, last mile delivery ecosystem. And this is going to actually go to about 4 million in 3 to 4 years' time. And this is where we feel that the Government of India, Niti Aayog's Project Shunya, wherein they want to get most of these last mile delivery vehicles to become electric, is going to be, very important. And that's the wave that we want to ride along with it.
Right.
One of the things is that pure vanilla financing is not going to work for this product. And I'll not get into details of it.
Yeah.
We all know about the batteries, etc., and all that.
Yeah.
So what is really required is to have a lease kind of a product, wherein the risks of the battery, the risks of other things are taken away from the individual rider, and it comes to a company like us.
All right. So profitability also very close by there. All right, Srinivas, we wish you all the best, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
On that note, it's time for us to take a short break. But up next, we put the spotlight on Zscaler's Zero Trust Exchange platform, which claims to protect its customers from cyber attacks and data loss. We find out how on the other side. Stay tuned.
लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लिया होता।
पॉलिसी बाजार पे 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 430 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
Welcome back to Startup Street. On the hot seat today, we put the spotlight on cloud security company Zscaler. Zscaler's Zero Trust Exchange platform protects thousands of customers from cyber attacks and data loss by securely connecting users, devices, and applications in any location. Distributed across more than 150 data centers globally, Zscaler claims its SSE-based Zero Trust Exchange is the world's largest inline cloud security platform. And to talk to me about the road ahead at Zscaler, joining me now is its founder and CEO, Jay Chaudhary. Jay, welcome to Startup Street. Like I mentioned, Zscaler protects enterprises from cyber attacks. It helps prevent data loss by using its security cloud to enable a simpler, fast, and more productive business experience. How are you doing this? Also, Jay, if you could take me through Zscaler's offerings, how you're enabling and accelerating secure digital transformation.
Thank you for the opportunity. I started Zscaler with the notion that if applications move to the cloud, and if users become mobile, the old paradigm of security, by doing what we call castle and moat, which assumes that users are sitting in the office, applications are in your data center, it no longer works. So I came up with a new idea that users could be anywhere, application could be anywhere, and Zscaler acts like an exchange, a switchboard that connects the right user to right applications safely with great experience. It's the opposite of traditional network security, firewalls, and the like. This zero trust architecture is needed to prevent all kind of cyber attacks and ransomware and the like. And that's what we had done. This new architecture is very effective as compared to the old firewall-based solutions.
Okay, Jay. But new technologies and initiatives like 5G and metaverse are emerging as a playground for cyber attacks. Jay, if you could talk to me about the vulnerabilities of these emerging technologies and the future roadmap for the cybersecurity adoption.
Every new technology brings some big benefits, but they also can be exploited. So providers like Zscaler need to make sure that we prevent people from getting compromised. Take 5G. It is a faster media, can allow us to do all kinds of things we couldn't do before. But in the old world, if you got on the network, you got on a highway system and you could go anywhere and try to compromise things. In the Zscaler Zero Trust architecture, we simply connect you on a 5G or 4G or any network to simply through our policy engine to only the right place. There's no other place to go for bad guys. So the Zero Trust architecture helps prevent against these new type of threats. It is because of the new clean architecture.
All right, one final question, Jay. How big is the India opportunity for Zscaler in terms of revenue? And if you could also take me through some of the expansion plans here.
I come from India, so India has a special place in my heart. So when I started Zscaler in 2008, we opened the Bangalore office actually before we opened the Silicon Valley office. Well over a third of Zscaler employees are in India. All facets of business, from software development to testing to customer support, finance, all these functions are in India. We are in 4 or 5 locations: Bangalore, Mohali near Chandigarh, Pune, Hyderabad, and Mumbai. From marketing point of view, from sales opportunity, if you asked me 5 or 6 years ago, India was viewed as a relatively small market. Now, India is booming, digital India is growing. We're dealing with some of the largest customers in India who are actually doing business with us. This could be some of the largest private banks. This could be some of the largest systems integrator firms, or some of the household names like Godrej and many other companies. It's a great opportunity for us. We got a sizable team. India is growing faster than us for the rest of the world. So it's nice to see how rapidly India is embracing the digital world and how smartly it's doing with the use of some of the core technologies, Aadhaar, UPI, the payment system interface and the likes. So it makes me very proud.
All right, Jay, on that note, it's time for us to wrap up this conversation. Wish you the very best with your expansion plans. Many thanks once again for joining us on Startup Street.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.
देखो देखो देखो